What's up, chat? Welcome in. It's Wednesday. It's normally Warhamster Wednesday, and I do have a stream scheduled for that. We'll see if we get to it today because we had a random drop of new content kind of out of nowhere. So it might be that gets postponed till next week, but we'll see. We'll see how we go. In any case, let me know if my microphone's a little bit hot here. It looks like it's a little loud. I think it was loud. I put it up over the course of the weekend. I'm back from Tennessee, recuperating after a full weekend in Tennessee, 4 days in Tennessee for the TEO, and back to my regularly scheduled broadcasting. I didn't have a stream up yesterday, largely because I got in about 2 a.m. and then I basically passed out. I got woken up by like some unrelated drama. And ended up like stumbling onto my streaming and realizing that on my new motherboard, none of my old stream settings are still there. And so I had to rebuild all my stream stuff from scratch. And I was about halfway through that, and I was like, it was like 4 p.m. already. I was like, unfortunately, we've missed the Tuesday show, so we didn't get to talk about the Paris Wargame Expo. I also then logged into the Paris Wargame Expo and realized that I had talked about it as if it was a 5-round, 400-player super major. It was actually like 10 rounds, and they did a double elimination top cut that was still ongoing at the time that I went to go do that live stream. So I was like, oh, so the originally scheduled discussion topic for that live stream is also just different than I thought, which I guess I just didn't recognize when I looked at the event. I don't usually go through all the event packets, so I had no idea. But pretty embarrassing. But obviously, we will be able to talk about that later. Might schedule a separate live stream just to discuss that, those results specifically, because that is honestly kind of a cool format for 40K. Double elimination is not something 40K does very often. We do it for T5S2 over here on this channel, but otherwise, not really something that happens that much. But anyway, chat, welcome in. How's it going, everybody? We're going to be talking about some new updates today. GW dropped some random sort of stealth updates to the faction pack system just this morning, including a couple new data sheets, the full release of the new Space Marine detachments for White Scars and Iron Hands, as well as a small but fierce core rules update. Which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, just in time for pods. Yeah, we just pods this week. List lock is tomorrow evening, so pods this week snuck this one right in before their list locks, which is good. So yeah, we'll go through it real quick. First things first, core rules commentary. One tiny change. First of all, check this out. There's a change log. Holy shit! What is this? It's like technology from 1995. That we're finally incorporating 30 years later into Warhammer 40,000, the Tips Up Miniature game. It tells you what they changed. That's super sick. If we check that out, it's the normal move section has been updated. What's this, chat? And can I make more than one normal move per phase? Now that feels like it doesn't make sense. Of course, you can only make one move per phase. You can only be selected to move one time. Also, why is this so grainy?
Ryan G donated $5 through Super Chat.
Did you notice this?
I for one welcome our Canoptic Wraith Overlords. WS2 Wraiths in Star Shatter. Is the new Necron kill team only showing in the app?
Thank you for the super chat, Ryan. I have no idea. I have not taken a look at the Necron document yet. I've basically personally only looked at the Space Marine stuff, so I don't know if the new Necron stuff is in there. This is fucked. Why is it so crunchy? Are all the diagrams like that? Yes. Wait, they like compressed their diagram. Oh no, not this Impulsor. Impulsor couldn't be grainy. No. That's bizarre. Is that on my end? What if I refresh? I have been having internet problems recently. Nope, it's still there. Interesting. What the fuck? How do you even do this? I don't even know. They must have gone through some sort of compression when they exported the PDF. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's neither here nor there. That's only technical stuff. Let's talk about this. Only one normal move per phase. What does this mean? What implications could this possibly have in the game? So the big thing is that you can no longer perform multiple reactive moves. with the same unit in the same phase, which was great. That was an ongoing discussion. These are probably changes that are coming up ahead of the World Championships of Warhammer, because they usually do kind of a rules refresh there. They go through and they'll tighten down a bunch of stuff so it doesn't come up on the highest level table that Warhammer 40K currently has. And this was kind of an outstanding one. They had originally made it so that surge moves encompassed every single out of activation move. The rule was simply a move that occurred in response to a trigger. So any reactive move, any blood search move, obviously anything that happened essentially outside of your normal movement step, that was a surge move, and obviously a unit can only make one surge move per phase. So that very neatly nipped that in the bud. If I have, for example, an Eldar Ranger unit that you fall back from, can I trigger both their own ability to reactive move when you end up movement within 9 inches and the Eldar ability to reactive move when you fall back? And the answer was, on release, yes. And then when they added the surge move FAQ, the answer was no. And then they clarified that a normal move is never a surge move, which meant that suddenly you could do all of this shit. And the other important one is the combi weapon lieutenant from Space Marines. In Gladius Task Force or Stormlands Task Force, that guy can reactive move twice. And it's a fucking nightmare. If you ever try to tie that guy down inside Gladius Task Force, he's got a 6-inch reactive move, he's got a D6-inch reactive move, and he's schlepping 12 inches in response to you coming and trying to get him. It was incredibly stupid. And while they had fixed it for like a month, they unfixed it, and suddenly you could do it again. However, it looks like that has entirely been changed. A unit cannot make more than one normal move per phase. So, for example, if we have a reactive move that says you can make a normal move of D6 inches in response to an enemy unit moving within 9 inches of you, you cannot then trigger another reactive move until the end of the movement phase. So, for example, you cannot then say, I'll do the reactive move to move when you fall back from Eldar, or vice versa. This also means that you things like multiple fire and fade effects. So if you have like I think this was an open question with the Phobos Lieutenant. It's funny that I put Eldar in the thumbnail here, and then it ended up being a bunch of Space Marine stuff. But the other one is clearly Bahareth. Oh no, not Bahareth. Excuse me, Asherman. Asherman has a baked-in fire and fade after he can move after he shoots. You cannot then use regular fire and fade on him, right? And I think the same goes for... So fire and fade is in the shooting phase after you've shot, you can move D6 inches. Asserman says in your shooting phase after you have shot, you can move up to 6 inches. So you can't use both of them because they both grant you a normal move, and those will be restricted. Scourges, I think, are the other one. If you're in, is it Real Space Raid that still has a fire and fade? I'm not super familiar with the new Drakari Codex, so I apologize, folks. They have a baked-in normal move after shooting of up to 6 inches, and then there's an end-of-phase movement after shooting in Drukari, which I think that would also be restricted on, so you can't do that twice. The other one, the one that I was talking about earlier, is the Phobos Lieutenant, who has a reactive move after shooting. You can, after your model has shot, you can move up to 6 inches. Was this always 6 inches, actually? That's interesting. I thought it was D6 for a while. Which I believe... I'm going to double check here. I think that if you... There was a way to get him into a unit with a Instigator Carbine, and I think it was... Oh, it's a Spectre's Kill Team. It's a Spectre's Kill Team. You can attach him... Because you can attach a Phobos Lieutenant to an Infiltrator Squad, you can attach him to a Spectre's Kill Team. And a Spectre's Kill Team can include an Instigator Bolt Carbine, which gives you a normal move after shooting. So you can have 2. You can move 12 inches. Which I think got played at a GT at least one time. I think I remember talking about that technology at some point. It's not great. It's you're taking like a Phobos Lieutenant Spectre's Kill Team, so you're paying like 250 points for this unit. It just moves a lot. They don't do 1 million damage by themselves. The Phobos Librarian's usually the inclusion here because you get anti-shooting, which is pretty nice. But it's a cute combo. And you can no longer do it, though. So that's nice. Not a huge, massive impact on 40k, but it will certainly come into play, especially for the aforementioned units like the models with multiple reactive moves. So if you have a baseline reactive move, plus you have you're like a ranger or a termagant or something that has another reactive move on their data sheet, you can't stack them, which is huge. So you love to see it, folks. Absolutely sick. Need to bribe and Games Workshop to give Phobos Lieutenant the ability to charge after their Fire and Fade, yeah. That's really cool. It made a lot of really bad units good. It was kind of like the, I don't know, there's a bunch of stuff like that where it it's not a hugely impactful rule, but it just makes a bunch of really, really trash units like actually playable, which is nice. All right. Let's move on to all these faction packs. Hey, System Tom, 2-month early access. Welcome in. Will GW sell Deathwatch veterans again? Do they not currently? I mean, Deathwatch veterans are just tactical marines, so you just buy a tactical marine squad. It's mostly the same thing. Oh, they don't. Oh no, shit! Look at that. They're gone. Just Corvus Blackstar. There's a Deathwatch veteran upgrade sprue. That's not what we're looking for, though. The plot thickens. I don't know if I would expect those to disappear, though. If they've kept the Grey Knight range for this long, I don't think they're going to get rid of the Deathwatch veterans. Those guys are hale and healthy from 6th edition. The packs aren't actually changed, they're just formatting. So some of them were, I believe, Deathwatch got new units. I haven't read them, but I believe that's the case. Let's take a peek. The Decimus kill team is a new datasheet for Deathwatch. Space Marines also got new content. We can talk about their new detachments, although it's not like super new stuff. People have seen them before. But it is important to talk about. So this is the new kill team. I'm going to move over my viewer a little bit so it's easier to read. The new kill team squad. I don't believe this replaces Deathwatch veterans. Yeah, classic Deathwatch veterans are still here. And the Fortis kill team, I imagine, is still here. Talon Strike is here. Fortis is here. Yeah, all the kill teams are here. So this is just new. I guess, does it replace the fucking other... What's the other one? Kill Team Cassius. I think they're gone. But nobody played those guys anyway. This is a wall of text. Holy shit. So they have reroll hit rolls of 1. If you attack a non-Imperium or Chaos unit, you get full hit rerolls instead. Basically, it's essentially the same rule as these guys get, right? Yeah, it's exactly the same rule. Death to the Alien. So they're basically a Deathwatch veteran unit with extra steps. I'm glad that they've chosen to do this, which is just make a new datasheet for these guys, because I was really tired of all of the clickbait videos that were like, Deathwatch is cooked. Games Workshop's new release cycle kills a whole faction. Because it looked like their new kill team was going to override all their old weapon options. And it's just a different unit, so... All right. Y'all can calm down. I'm glad we didn't pay too much attention to that stuff, because clearly it was overblown. Weapon options seems like they're going to be the big thing. If a character from your army can be attached to a Fortis kill team, it can be attached to this unit instead. Jesus. So we have layers of... This is amazing. We have layers of attached unit references. The attached unit references the Fortis kill team, which references, I believe, the Intercessor squad. No, that's Spectrus. Where's the Fortis kill team? Where's that guy? Get back here. Yeah. So we have to... The Inception is multiple levels at this point. The time goes slower when you're in the Decimus kill team, because you're 2 levels deep in from the regular Fortis kill team, which is a level in from the Intercessor squad. Amazing. I think that goes to show you as well, though, that Games Workshop does intend for other unit sort of attachment allowances to be referential, which obviously was a big question previously. Whether or not you can attach Kyria Draxus to these units, which I believe the intention is that you can. That seems pretty clear to me. But obviously, not everyone agrees with that, but I don't know. We'll see. So the composition is up to 10 models. It has a combination of sergeants. It's either 5 models. I wonder if they have different points values. I actually didn't look. Let's take a peek here. Oh, they do! You can take them in 5s. The only kill team you can take in a small number. That's cool. Besides the veteran squad, obviously. So you can either take 5 models that have 1 Gravis armored veteran, or you can have 10 models that have 2 Gravis veterans and 7 regular Deathwatch. For every 5 models in the unit, an Infernus Heavy Bolter can be replaced with a frag cannon or Hellstorm Bolt Rifle and grenade launcher. Hellstorm Bolt Rifle is 2 shots, 5-2-2, and then you also get a grenade launcher. So it's a strictly superior heavy bolter. Oh, but the Infernus Heavy Bolters are damage 3. Jesus. Okay. Is that true for all Infernus Heavy Bolters? Have they always been damage 3? Have I been under... No. Wait. They have a strictly better Infernus weapon? What the fuck? Why? Their Heavy Bolter is AP2 damage 3, but the regular Infernus is AP1 damage 2? What the fuck? All right, well, good to know, I guess. So we can replace an Infernus Heavy Bolter with a frag cannon or bolt rifle and grenade launcher, which seems just worse. So I don't know if we're that interested in that. For 5 models, 1 model's Heavy Thunderhammer can be replaced with a power weapon and shield. Mid. For every 5 models, 1 model's Stalker Bolt Rifle can be replaced with a Plasma Incinerator. Sick. For every 5 models, Deathwatch Marksman Bolt Rifle Carbine can be replaced with a Combat Knife. So the basic kill team loadout. The Gravis guys have Infernus Heavy Bolters. So they have the Ultra Heavy Bolter, like the Executor Bolter, I guess, that the Heavy Intercessors are supposed to have, but it has a flamer on it. So that's why it's extra damage. I get it. Sergeant, I guess, is locked into a plasma pistol and power weapon. A little bit awkward. For every 5 models in the unit, 1 veteran is equipped with Stalker Bolt Rifle, CCW. For every 5 models in the unit, 1 is equipped with Heavy Thunderhammer. For every 5 models, 1 is equipped with Marksman Bolt Carbine. For every... if it contains 10, you also get a Bolt Pistol Xenoflaze Blade guy. And you could have, if you get rid of your Stalker Bolt Rifles, you could get 2 shield guys. Oh, excuse me, instead of Thunderhammer guys. Interesting. So the curious thing about this is that it makes fun use of the toughness characteristic rules for 40k. That being that you always use the highest toughness value in your unit unless that value is assigned to an attached character, in which case you use the bodyguard's toughness regardless. So, the fun thing here is that for 100 points, you can get 5 dudes that are toughness 6 until the last guy in the unit is killed, the Gravis veteran. You'll never pull the Gravis veteran first because the Fortis Marines, the like regular, I guess, just like Phobos dudes, are really shitty. So who gives a crap? So we'll pull those dudes first, and you're just left with this T6 utility unit. Is that good? No. It is not better than a regular veteran kill team, it seems like, because you get less Thunderhammers. What you could do is if you take 0 Thunderhammers, right, you get a 3 damage Heavy Bolter, you get a Stalker Bolt Rifle from the or Plasma Gun. So you get a 3 damage gun and a 2 damage gun, and then you have Marksman Bolt Carbines, which are just like... They ignore cover, right? That's their deal? Literally not even here. Okay. Is it in this thing? Wait. But it doesn't give you the weapon profile. You get a Deathwatch Marksman Bolt Carbine. I mean, it must just be... Oh, no, there it is. I don't know why I couldn't find it. Just kidding. So it's 2 shots, lethal hit, strength 5, AP1. Yeah, whatever. I don't know if I really care about that. You can replace it with a combat knife, so you get AP1 melee weapon. Who cares? So our shooting isn't, like, good, but it's not terrible, right? You get a 3 damage gun and a 2 damage gun. Are the Stalkers good? The Stalkers are 2 shots. 2 shots, 2 damage as well. How many Stalkers do we get? 1 Stalker. 1 Thunderhammer, which we can equip a shield onto. And then 1 Marksman Bull Carbine and 1 Power Weapon guy. The annoying part is that these are like 5 different dudes with 5 different weapon profiles. It's just fucking horrible. This feels like a unit that next edition will definitely just have like Death Watch weapons, and they'll just be like strength 6, AP2, 2 damage or something. So what you could do is you could basically have like 2 solid weapon platforms, right? You have a 3 damage gun and a 2 damage gun. It's a 100-point unit. It's OC2. It is base T6 and has 1 dude with a 4+ invuln. So it's actually kind of tanky for its cost. And its shooting isn't bad because you'll never pull the Gravis guy until the end of the unit's dead. So you're always gonna get these like 3 damage lethal hit. It's a sustained 1. I guess it's not lethal, but it's 3 shots, strength 5, AP2, 3 damage, sustained 1, or you get a cool torrent. It doesn't seem great, but I certainly think that you could, in some cases, use this. Awkwardly, it doesn't go into transports because it has Gravis guys in it, so you can't put it in like impulsors or rhinos. I guess it's Tacticus keyworded as well, which is a little bit funny.
Johnny Mars donated
actually, wait,
Canadian dollars through Super Chat. Funny, got confirmation from GW that dropheads at Worlds disregard the pedals for purposes of placing 9 inches away when you land and can overhang battlefield.
Johnny Mars, thank you for the super chat, buddy. You discard the pedals for placing? Yeah, that makes sense because they decreed that they were 9 inches. That they were not part of the hull, right? It's just weird because it's like, can you set them up like on top of people if they're basically not supposed to be there? Can you like put them where models are? If we're just pretend that they don't exist, it's unclear to me, and I think it's problematic. But definitely makes sense you can put them off the table because it's not part of your model. It's not a measurement surface, which is typically how Games Workshop determines whether or not you can go off the table edge. I don't know. It's a weird thing. So looking at this, here's a funny thing, chat, that I'm just now noticing. And I don't think there's any rules to counteract this, right? I think they do go into impulsors because they're just Tacticus guys. We have Gravis armored infantry in a Tacticus keyworded unit, and the Gravis infantry do not gain the Gravis keyword. So not only do they go into impulsors, they also only take up 1 space in repulsors and land raiders. I don't think that matters that much, but it actually might be kind of neat. I could get a T6 unit with a 4+ invulnerable save in an impulsor, just bail out on a middle objective. I'll like score Ariads out for 5 and then blast somebody for 9 damage with my cool heavy bolter. That's like kind of sick. That's cool. That's actually cool. I wonder if there's like interesting character options you can put in here. You could put a Watchmaster in here, but I don't know if I'm that interested. I'd rather put him in Deathwatch Veterans. I don't know. All right. There's something here. A T6 unit for 100 points is like, it's basically heavy intercessors, but you have moved 6 dudes in your unit, and you actually have a melee profile. And you can go to transports. It's so funny. I just recorded a video about Imperial Fist. It talks about heavy intercessors quite a bit, and the heavy intercessor datasheets, like the raw stat stick is really impressive. You're paying like 20 something points a model. Exactly 20 points a model. You get a T6 3-wound dude with a 2 damage gun. You're like, wow, that's great. And then you try to do anything with them, and you're like, well, they're too slow. They can't deep strike, so they're not great like deep striking utility. They're too slow to like go to an objective early, and they're strictly worse than regular intercessors holding a backlight objective. It's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with these guys? And then you like look at character attachments, and you're like, I can attach Fieros, I guess. Cool. This feels like the fixed version of Deathwatch of Gravis or Heavy Intercessors, where it's like they actually have melee profile and they're actually slightly faster. They can go into transports. They can do all the things that Heavy Intercessors wish they could do. The downside is that you lose 4 wounds, but you get 1 extra 4+ invulnerable save, which is like, well, that's okay. Your shooting's not as good, obviously, but you don't, for 100 points, you don't really care that much about the shooting. This is cute. I don't know. I don't think this unit's particularly great, but I do think it is cute. I think the inclusion of a Gravis unit into a Tacticus unit and retaining the keywords is actually extremely unique. And I think that's kind of neat. Chat. Somebody said that there is Imperial Agent rules for these that are different. Let's take a peek. I'm curious to see if that's the case. They have no Tacticus keyword in the app. Wait, really? So you can put them in. You can put them in like rhinos. I am not seeing them in the faction pack chat, so we'll just forget it. We'll take a peek for Necron stuff. If it's not here, we'll just move on.
Bucket of Steel Cable donated $2.79 through Super Chat. Can Fabius Bile stand back up twice if precisioned?
Can he stand back up twice? No. What? Why would he be able to stand back up twice? What's the rationale there? His ability is once per game, right? Thank you for the super chat, by the way. The first time he is destroyed, chat. So if he's destroyed, and then he regenerates, the second time he's destroyed would be the second time, so he doesn't regenerate again. All right, let's take a peek at... See if the new Necron stuff is here. It doesn't seem like it is. It looks like they have not updated the faction pack. Is that real? Can't even find it. It doesn't say that it's been updated, so it's unlikely. Morty can't reactive move. So you can still reactive move opposing reactive moves. It's not that players can't take more than one normal move. It's that units can't take more than one normal move. So if your unit reactive moves, that unit cannot then trigger a subsequent reactive move. However, if your opponent triggers 2 reactive moves on 2 different of your units, you're totally fine. What it stops you doing is stacking reactive moves, so like the thing we talked about with Behareth and Fire and Fade, or Scourges or whatever. I'm not seeing any new data sheets here, chat, so we're gonna disregard. But what I do want to talk about is new Space Marines. We talked about Space Marines for a moment. It's been about check my watch. 17 seconds since we last talked about a Space Marine. So let's continue to talk about Space Marines. The new detachments and units are available in the Space Marine faction pack. Unfortunately for us, chat, the Space Marine faction pack, my internet's not amazing right now. The Space Marine faction pack is 188 pages long. So this is going to take a little while because it's freezing my Chrome. Fucking holy shit. I wonder, how big is this document? Like, in terms of file size?
Ryan G donated $2 through Super Chat. Data sheets are only in the app. Linking them to you.
Data sheets are only in the app? Why? That's stupid. I don't have the app downloaded because I cannot be bothered to buy every codex in the game. Maybe 11th edition. I will actually make an effort to do that, but holy shit. I was not in a position to spend like $1,000 on codexes. The problem too is that if I buy a codex, it's either sold out or I'm going to get it in a month, and then suddenly I won't even have access to the data sheets in the app anyway. So it's like, why bother? It's the worst fucking system in the world. If they restrict rules to the app, the game's going to destabilize. It's going to be a nightmare. People are not going to be able to fact check their opponent on rules and stuff. It's going to be I don't know. The integrity of the game is going to be compromised. All Oh, let's talk about the new characters. I want to talk about the new characters before we jump into their detachments. The detachments are less exciting. The characters are cool. Caanok Var. Can opener Var over here. There we go. Make sure that looks good. The new Iron Hands man. Pretty cool. He is a Terminator. He's also Captain keyworded, so you can dual attach him with like Ancients and stuff, which is pretty sweet. Each time you make an attack target, it's a monster vehicle unit, you gain lethal hits. Every time you attack any other type of unit, you gain sustained hits. Wait, it's a he's a Terminator lethal hit outlet? Wow. It took us ages. We had one of those in Space Wolves. Which you could fire just a combo off of, and now I guess we have one in Iron Hands. There's synergy here in oh, there's not actually. I'm trying to think. There's no more 5-up criticals in Space Marines anymore. I believe that they got rid of all of them because the lethal hit stuff was too strong. But if there were, we could still do like this dude plus an ancient, because we were Captain Keyword, which is cool. We could put an ancient in the Terminator squad. We could get lethal sustained against vehicles. And Terminators get +1 to hit their Oath target, so you full reroll with Oath Moment into more lethal sustains, and then they're winning on 5s. No critical 5s makes it a little bit unfortunate, but honestly, a very good leadership ability. It just makes you into like you're just Astra Militarum combined arms basically now. That's sick. He's also, importantly, because he's a Terminator, he's 2+4+, T5, 6 wounds, 5 feel no pain. The dude's he deep strikes and he's unironically kind of difficult to kill. So as an independent utility unit, he's actually not that bad. How expensive is he? I imagine he's like 110 or something. Or 90 plus. He's probably 90 plus. I just clicked on the Space Marine faction pack why I wanted the unit term. Caanok, I named him. Caanok Var. Caanok Var. Why can't I find him? Caanok Var. He's 100 points. Yeah, we nailed it. So he's probably too expensive to run on his own if you're not doing anything particular with him. He does have the Cerebrix logic engine. Sort of the battle formation step. You select an infantry unit from your army. It gains scout. But you get both of these, by the way. These are not selectable. This isn't a modal ability. You just get all of them. After both armies players have deployed their armies, you can select one unit from your army and redeploy it. When doing so, you can set that unit up in strategic reserve if you wish, regardless of how many units are already in strategic reserve. Plus, he's got a power fist profile in melee, but he has a sweep attack, strength 5, AP2, 1 damage. You're rarely going to use it because it's only superior against like guardsman equivalents, but occasionally he will just beat the crap out of 10 regular dudes. All of his attacks hit on 2s as well. So he's okay in melee. He has a great leadership ability and a very strong army support rule. 100 points is a little expensive for a unit if you don't get use out of his attachment, but we'll see. Unfortunate, he can only attach to Terminators. If this man, we just talked about heavy intercessors, there is like for whatever reason, there's a heavy intercessor sub-theme within Iron Hands. If this man could attach it to heavy intercessors, unironically, I think it would be good. Because giving lethal hits to those units are great. Lethal hits are okay in Terminators. There's probably something you could make use of it with Terminators, I guess. They do also, they're trying to push Terminators really hardcore in the Iron Hands unique detachment, which I actually think is a little bit disappointing. It's kind of a phone-in, but it's going to be good. So it is what it is. We'll talk about that in a moment. Let's go in and talk about Suboden Kahn, the new White Scars character. Finally have a White Scars character on a fucking bicycle, dude. It's been so long. He himself has a sick top-line profile, 3+4+, 8 wounds. Okay. 2 OC2, 12-inch movement. He has an on-site Gatling cannon, so 8 shots devastating on the front of his bicycle, which is cool. And then he's Lance plus anti-monster, anti-vehicle 4, strength 6, AP2, 2 damage. He also has an 8 attack power sword profile if you want it instead. So he basically also sweeps, but you lose Lance if you sweep. So most of the time he doesn't really want to do it, but occasionally he's going to run into Gretchen or something and wants to do the multiple attack profile.
Ryan G donated $5 through Super Chat.
Another Super Chat, right?
Doesn't the lethal hits ability of Var have a second part?
Yeah, so the second part is sustained hits if you attack a non-monster vehicle. So it's you become you almost it's not quite the same obviously because your keyword doesn't matter, but you almost become an Astra Militarum army. So you gain lethals against big stuff and you gain sustains against little stuff essentially, which is generally what you want to be doing, especially if you're trying to like combo it off with Oath of Bowman. Then you're getting +1 to wound on your wound rolls anyway. So attacking low toughness, you would prefer to sustain regardless, rather than the lethal hits. Or at least you generally prefer to sustain. So there's maybe a list here that makes use of like Terminators in like Gladius or something, and you can get ignore cover, bonus AP, and then like shoot really hard. It's not quite as good as Lysander's unit because Lysander's unit gets wound rerolls instead, but it's definitely something. I don't know if it's going to be good by itself. I think you largely take him for the synergy with his own detachment. But if you are Terminator pilled, this is probably one of the best leaders for Terminators, I think, in the game currently. So I don't know. I think it's sweet. It would be great with Claw Terminators. Oh, I could see that. You have to deliver them, though. Delivering melee Terminators is always a little awkward. I guess, like, if we're running Gladius Task Force guys. And then we can, like, ingress. We could, like, teleport home or ingress and then advance and charge and get in there. Might be something. I don't know. I think it's neat. I love these abilities, by the way, that have multiple claws, like, multiple effects. The other thing, too, is that he kind of wants to be in Terminators as well, because you can use his ability to, like, deploy the Terminators on the line. See if you go, and then just up them, right? And then immediately put them in reserve. And you can do that irrespective of your other strategic reserve restrictions, so you could just deep strike them later. Plus a 6-inch scout. Start of battle formations. It's important to note you have to declare the scout before. It's not like Strike Swiftly, the Monka ability. You have to declare the scout before the game begins. So you cannot, you can't like see what the deployments are and then be like, oh, I'll scout this unit and then move them. You have to declare scout first, then deploy, then scout them. But we're talking about Suboden Kahn. So he's got. This is always the funniest profile to me because the Shining Spears have the same thing. So he's kind of a low strength lance attack, which means or mid strength, I guess. So he's gonna wound most targets, like heavy targets, on 4s. But then they also gave him anti-monster, anti-vehicle 4. So the only time lance comes into play is if he's attacking a non-monster vehicle that's high toughness, or he's attacking a T4 enemy. Like, specifically, toughness 4 or 5 is the only time that it, like, realistically matters. Otherwise, he's mostly wounding on 4s regardless. I guess, like, non-monster vehicle enemies that are above toughness 3 is what we want to be hitting for that to make a difference. But the thing is that the fact that he's anti-monster anti-vehicle is that he can hit a vehicle and then he can sustain the melee. So if they don't fall back, he's still going to win them on 4s, which is good. It's just a funny combination of effects because it's mostly anti-synergistic. It's definitely not bad, but it is funny. The other thing, too, is that you want this guy to be falling back and charging again. You want him to, like, cycle charge. So having him get bonuses for staying in melee is really weird. I don't know. It's a strange combination of effects, but it's definitely not bad. You can advance or fall back and still shoot and charge. He's just Samael. Oh, he's literally just Samael. He's got an onslaught Gatling cannon instead of a plasma cannon, but it's like weapons are the same. Okay. Don't forget too that his only attachment's going to be Outriders, and Outriders give +1 damage on the charge. So he's actually 3 damage when he goes into charge. So the cycle charge is still relevant. If you are already eligible to shoot and charge the turn in which you advance, add +1 to advance and charge rolls. That's a little bit annoying because I don't think that anything naturally in the Space Marine Codex, and people are going to get confused about this. This feels like a little bit of an Nathan Sean sort of situation, where it's just going to mess people up. I actually don't think the second clause comes into play unless you use. There's one stratagem inside the the what is it, Spearpoint Task Force or whatever detachment that allows you to advance and shoot. Because the new detachment, I'm gonna double check myself here. The new detachment, I believe, only. Wait, where is it? Wait, chat. What? I had it on my laptop a second ago. I was literally just reading it. I remember it is. Oh, Spearpoint Task Force. Here it is. Yeah. So you're able to advance and to declare a charge. You are not, however, important. You are not eligible to advance and shoot, which means that his ability, if you're playing him in Spearpoint Task Force, doesn't naturally trigger unless we use mobile lethality on the unit. So we can pay a command point in the movement phase to give +1 to advance and charge to that unit because we're giving them the ability to advance and shoot, which they do not naturally have outside of Suboden Kahn, which triggers the second clause of Suboden Kahn's ability. People are going to mess that up constantly. They're going to say, well, because I'm in Spearpoint Task Force, I can advance and charge. And because Suboden Kahn gives me the ability to advance and charge, but a bonus if I can already do so, I'm going to get +1. No, you only get +1 if you can also advance and shoot, which you can't. So you need to spend a command point to get +2 to your threat range, which honestly is not a terrible command point spend. Spending a command point for +1 to advance and then also +1 to your charge is definitely pretty solid if you have the CP to burn. But the Stormlands Task Force variety of Marines is already so command point starved. I can't imagine we have too much to spend on. In addition to that, each time you make a normal advance, fallback, or charge move, the entire unit can move through terrain features, which is sick. Let's go. So I don't know. This guy seems great. You dump him into a unit of Outriders, and then they run in, and they blow something up. There's a strat for Lance plus lethal, so the unit can do a bunch of damage. Move through terrain features is great, and I don't know. It's just good. The detachment also gives him a 6-inch move after he kills something, which is awesome. So not super duper useful. Because the bases of Outriders are so big that a 6-inch move doesn't typically get you behind terrain, but in some cases you might be able to. If you do like clever pile-in things where you charge a unit, kill it, pile towards an objective, then move. Because it's a normal move, it goes through terrain features, so you're going to be able to hide them potentially if you can make that full 9-inch movement. Let's talk about the detachment real quick. We've talked about this one for long enough here. The Spearpoint Task Force, the White Scars detachment. So it's a alternative to Stormlands Task Force. Make sure that looks good on the screen there. It gives you a fallback, advance, and still charge. Notably, as we just talked about, not shoot. And if Suboden Kahn or his unit destroys destroys an enemy unit, is not in engagement range at the end of any fight phase, and importantly, it doesn't require you to charge, doesn't require that it's your fight phase. So you can hit a unit, stick in melee, kill it, then you can move up, make a normal move up to 6 inches. As we just discussed, it goes through walls because of his leadership ability. We have this is basically I think just the offensive strat or enhancement from Stormlands. I forget the name of it. It gives you +1 strength and AP, +2 strength and AP if you charge. It's okay. I guess okay, like pretty good on a smash captain with when they finest hour, you go to strength 10 or something. Stormshear's Wisdom, reroll advance rolls. It's okay. Hunter's Eye works on anyone, gives sustained hits 1 and ignore cover. It's actually kind of neat. I'm not 100% sure where the best place for that is, but it might be like a lieutenant in a Hellblaster squad. Might be the way to go, or maybe a which the Stern Guard veteran squad also could be good because it has no requirements on it. Shigorian Huntmaster is just the turn 1 rapid ingress stuff. Treat the current battle round as being higher than it actually is, so we can rapid ingress early. Pretty good stuff. It is mounted only, so literally the only place this goes, I believe, is a bike chaplain onto an Outrider squad. Significantly less good than getting it on a jump pack captain in Raven Guard. Might have been a mistake. I don't know. It feels kind of like they pulled their foot off the gas a little bit for these detachments compared to Shadow Martown, because these ones are mostly just retreads of existing detachments, whereas Shadow Martown had a little bit more unique mechanics. Armor of Contempt is in the detachment. Let's go. Mobile Lethality. So this is another stratagem inside Stormlight Task Force, which gives you Assault. I believe it just gives you Assault or Sustained Hits 1 if you already Assault. This gives you either Fall Back or Advance and Shoot. So it's not quite Assault, and it doesn't give you the extra bonus damage that you do get from Stormlight Task Force. So the detachment's slightly worse at fighting, or at shooting, I should say. However, I don't know. It's pretty good. Withdraw and Regroup puts a mounted or fly vehicle from your army into strat reserve. It's not in engagement range. Doesn't require you to be next to the table edge, by the way. So this stratagem is actually sick, especially if you do it on things like storm speeders, because you can up those guys and then deep strike them. So we can do things like uppy, downy, like storm speeder hammer strikes and stuff, and just get meltas on target from whenever. Also, you can do it on entire storm ribbon gunships, obviously, which is a big one. So this is a incredibly good strat. We do have evasive maneuvers, -1 to hit and wound on mounted or fly vehicles. That's still there. Hunter's Instincts, which is a reactive move of auto 6 inches on infantry or mounted. And then the big one, in my opinion, is Spear, Thrust, and Saber Swing. It is a new, or it's a retread of the Stormlands Task Force Lance effect, which also gives you reroll charges, but it has to be declared the charge phase. It's actually like a weirdly bad strat. But it only works on mounted units. This one gives you either lance or lethal hits, which importantly synergizes with Corsaro Khan, because Corsaro already gives you lance. So having something like Honor the Chapter alongside him doesn't give you that much utility, because he already has it. However, we can give them lethal hits with this stratagem if we already have lance, which is cool. If you are a mounted unit, you get both. So it's basically just Red Rage for Outriders, which is phenomenal. You'll love to see it, chat. This detachment's still going to have problems with armor penetration characteristic. You don't have any way to improve AP. We have ignore cover on guns in one. I guess like Spearpoint Paragon gives you the bonus AP, and we have ignore cover on guns with 1 enhancement. But we don't have like +1 AP from Honor the Chapter, for example, which still means that this might be worse than Gladius Task Force. But you get uppy downies, you get the -1 to hit and wound for flying vehicles. There's definitely a lot of interesting play with it still. I'm curious. I'm curious to see how people take it. I do think Outriders, like Lance Lethal on Outriders is pretty good. You're missing the auto 6 or the 9-inch auto advance that Stormlands Task Force has, but in my opinion, it was a 2 CP strat. It's hard to pay for in basically any Stormlands Task Force outside of Ultramarines, and because there's like no mounted captains or anything like that, and in most, like 90% of the time, it either was like super degenerate or unnecessary. Having played a bunch of Space Wolf Stormlands Task Force, I was like, I very rarely use a stratagem. And so I don't know if that's the biggest issue. I know people are going to be upset about it, but I don't know if that's too big. I wish that there was like an auto 6 advance for 1 CP. I think that would be cool. But I don't know. This feels pretty good. Is Armor of Contempt now for the full phase? I have to ask like if people will troll every time this happens. Because every time a new detachment comes out with Armor of Contempt, everyone's like, oh, they fucked it up. They used the old wording. No. The balanced data slate overrides the wording. It rewords every instance of reduce armor penetration characteristic by 1. And I think at some point it's just going to become a meme where every time anyone gets any Armor of Contempt effect ever, everyone will be like, guys, they fucked up the thing. It's here. It's right here. If your stratagem says until the end of the phase reduce armor penetration characteristic by 1, it only means until the end of the attacking unit. When the end of the attacking unit has finished its attacks. So this overrides every single Armor of Contempt in the entire game, full stop, period. Every stratagem, I should say. But it's funny that question comes up literally every time they print an Armor of Contempt. They just haven't changed the wording because this already affects it. They need to undo the AOC change, man. They super don't. They absolutely don't. If you sincerely think that you did not play in the age of the in like post Eldar nerf, early 10th, was just fucking land raiders being impossible to kill. I have a video. I wonder if I could find it. I bet I could. I bet I could find it. And it was every time somebody's like, man, 10th edition's too lethal. I hate it. Everything dies too quickly. And I just want to show them this video. I'm gonna search for it real quick and I'm gonna see if I can find it. And it was just it was just a land raider deploying on the line, tanking literally an entire army to the face and then tabling them. And I was like, why the fuck are we here? What are we doing, bro? Why did I spend my day to come watch this fucking game? It was the stupidest shit. I'm gonna stop looking for it in a sec. Oh, I think I found it. I think this is the game. Let me see real quick. I don't know if this is it. But it was like this. It was like a land raider, and it like just what goes first, runs to the middle, just runs it down mid. This is fucking quality. It's terrible. It must not like that I'm streaming and trying to stream video at the same time. It takes this land raider, runs it down mid, right in the middle. I can't remember if this was the game or if it was a different similar game, but goes directly to the center of the table, absorbs all of the shooting, smoke plus AOC, absorbs all of the shooting from this entire army, basically takes nothing, drops its unit off, kills like basically this whole flank, and just rolls the Necron army. It was just like, this is fun. And every time someone's like, dude, AOC is not good enough, why do they have to nerf it? I just think about this game. And I'm like, no, the meta is healing. We're in a better spot now than we were when you could just fucking plant your face with the keyboard and run at your opponent. I don't want to take anything away from these players, obviously. They're just using the mechanics that are given to them, but the game was not particularly balanced earlier on in the game when the only factions that could kill anything ever were Eldar or Genestealer Cult. If you weren't playing Eldar or Genestealer Cult, you just yeah, this is how this game ended up, by the way. I was just like scrolling through it real quick. It was just it's just this fucking, the land raider I think eventually went down to the Silent King, but like Blood Edge just rolled. It just rolled the whole board after that. But like early on in the game, in the edition, like you could do, you play Eldar, you play Genestealer Cult, you could blow people up. And you needed these like crazy defensive strats to have a chance, right? But then as soon as they nerfed them, and I guess like to a lesser extent, Chaos Space Marines, as soon as they nerfed them, you pulled the camera back a second, and there's just 20 factions that are sitting there with like base AP1, AP2 melee profiles. And they're like, G-Dub, I have a problem. I'm not Eldar. And I can literally never kill a Space Marine ever. A Redemptor Dreadnought is saving on 3s against my strongest melee unit and having its damage because I'm like AP2 damage. That's the best profile GW could give us. And like half the game just rolled over and died to the Space Marine matchup. They had to do something about the defensive meta, like 2 years ago or so. It was insane. It was crazy. No one ever died. It was horrible. The game was so uninteractive, it wasn't even fun. Can you target a tank with AOC and smoke in the same phase? You can. There is an open question which has never been answered. It seems like World Championships Warhammer is going to roll on it, but we'll see. Of whether you can declare them both in response to the same action, but you can certainly do them in the same phase. So your opponent could shoot you with a pistol, and you go, "I'll smoke." That affects you for the phase. Then they shoot you with their big unit, and you go, "Oh, Armor of Contempt." It's an open and unanswered question whether or not your opponent can target you, and you go, "I'll use smoke and AOC," because the rationale is once you have declared one of the stratagems, the timing window is passed to declare the second one. I don't necessarily agree with that, but whatever Games Workshop decides to rule is how it's going to work. But that depends on different events. But you can certainly affect a tank with both of them in the same phase, for sure. At last, lore-accurate Marines. Yeah. For sure. For sure. This was like briefly after they had 10-man Desolator squads with full hit and wound rerolls and sustained hits one. Oh, sustained hits one. Critical 5s and full hit and wound rerolls. The fucking nuts, dude. It was 10 D3 plus blast. AP1 ignore covers, sustain hits, critical 5s. It was fucking wild. Because you could fire discipline combo the Desolation Squad. It was insane. Oh, man. What a time to be alive. I believe... Oh, unless we have new Necron stuff? New Necron stuff? Oh, okay. Thank you, Hippie Hunter, for screenshotting the new Necron stuff for me. This is going to be a bit of a hack job here. So is Necron Datasheets? I don't know what the context of these. Is this a character? Oh, it is. So he's a character, and he gains scout if he attaches to a macrosite unit, which is, I imagine, the new kill team guys. So Geomancer is regular Cryptek top line profile. He's a 2-shot melted 2, strength 8, AP 2, 2 damage. 4+ weapon skill though, which is a little bit awkward. If you play him in what do you call it? In Awakened Dynasty, he hits on 3s though, which is nice. Plus he can also do a torrent profile. Just a regular flamer, but D6 plus 2 shots at 18 inch range is pretty good. He grants
Ryan
-2.
G donated $2 through Super Chat. The kill team builds 3 different data sheets.
Oh, sick. All right, fair enough. That's cool. He can pin an enemy unit within 18 inches visible in your movement phase. Importantly, that's not timed any particular time of the movement phase, so you can do it before or after moving. So you could, for example, start in line of sight with your opponent and then use the ability and then run away, which is actually really kind of sweet. Expand this out a little bit. While he's within range of an objective marker, you control enemy units that are set up on the battlefield from reserves. Cannot be set up within 12. Holy shit. Okay, well, he immediately is in every list. He is just on your home objective, and he's Omni Scramblering it. I like this as a reinterpretation of Omni Scramblers. I think Omni Scramblers is too powerful. Well, I'm biased. I'm a fucking demon player. So, of course, I think Omni Scramblers is too powerful. But because it's so ubiquitous in the factions that have it, right? There's Techno-Archaeologists. There's I guess Navigators don't see that much play anymore, which is interesting. But Infiltrators are in like every Space Marine list, right? If you have Omni Scramblers, you take Omni Scramblers. Darkstrider gets played solo and Tau all the time. I like this as a slightly less powerful version of it because it requires you to be on an objective, which is cool. It also means that I guess you can't take the objective and then turn it off because you don't recheck objective control until the next phase if you move on to his objective. But it could mean that you hold the objective at the start of the turn, you turn off his Omni Scramblers, and then you can Deep Strike, which is cool. If you control it in the command phase, obviously, which is less useful, but still good. It's important to note that he has to be in range of the objective marker, not his unit. So if he's attached to anything, you can't trail him. He only ever protects basically like, what, 4.5 plus 12, 16.5 from an edge of the objective marker. The objective control range plus his base size plus the 12-inch zone is the farthest he can protect an area of the battlefield from an objective marker. But obviously that opens up placement on the other side, and it's a whole thing. It also, importantly, it's only him and it's not his unit as well. So you don't. It's unlike an infiltrator squad where you can trail it out, and you could put like you make a huge band of deep strike denial. It's just one spot. Expect this guy just to be cover manipulation shenanigans. Yeah, that's really good. This guy is immediately solid. Is he in the Munitorum? I believe that he is. Do I have the Munitorum open? I do. What's he called? A Geomancer? He should be able to move buildings around. He's 75 points, so he is a little expensive as Cryptex go, right? But 75 points is for. I mean, he's basically in line with a navigator. He's a navigator with almost pure upside because he's harder to kill. He's got better guns. He's got another support ability. And that's the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, you have a strictly better navigator in faction. Okay, cool. I'll take that for $1, I guess. Let's see the other units. The new macro sites, so the actual unit within the kill team. How big is this unit? I don't know if I noticed. I have no idea. Who knows? They're T3, 1 wounders, 8-inch move, which is nice. They're OC1 baseline, so you don't need any help to do actions and stuff. They have a one-shot gun, or a little Gauss gun, or a little Tesla gun. And they have the old Nurgling aura. That's literally just the old Nurgling ability. They brought that back. That's funny. Just a little tiny aura of -1 to be hit. I mean, that effect is really good. If you're sort of embedding them into like a Canoptic Wraith, sort of battle line, right? If you don't kill these guys early when they're doing utility stuff, they're just going to run in. They're going to base the back of a Wraith, and if you engage that Wraith in melee, you get -1 to hit it. In melee as well, so it could already be protected by stealth, right, from the enhancement in Awakened Dynasty. But you could also be -1 to hit in melee. Obviously not monster, not vehicle. Make sure your sort of like dedicated melee infantry bricks really worse. Blade Guard veterans and the like. Actually, a very relevant ability in Necrons. Although for the most part, I feel like this is just going to be a little unit of utility people. Now, I don't know how big this unit is. Is it 5 models, chat? I can't quite tell. This is what the unit looks like. I assume this is a 5 model unit. It's these guys. So it's probably like 80 points, maybe 70 points. Where'd my Munitorum go? Macro sites. It is 5 models for 85. I think that's maybe worth. They're competing directly with like Tomb Blades, I guess, which have a higher scout and movement characteristic, but are mounted instead of beast. These guys are beasts, right? I'll never know. Probably. I can't imagine their vehicles. How much are Tomb Blades? Oh, I guess what they're really competing with is flayed ones. 75. So they're 10 points
Ryan
more than
G
Tomb Blades.
donated $5
20 points
through
more than
Super
flayed
Chat.
ones.
They have the same attachment options as Crypto Thralls Philly.
The same attachment options as Crypto Thralls. Wait, so you can embed them into a unit? Did I miss that? Oh, this is the Geomancer's rule. I have no idea. It is 5 models. Sick. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see chat. There's another page here. Start of the fight phase is selected Canoptic unit within 3 inches. Till the end of the phase, improve weapon skill characteristic of models in that unit by 1. Weapon skill only, not ballistic skill. So it doesn't work on Doomstalkers, which would actually be really good. make Doomstalkers a little bit good. Once per battle round with a friendly Necron unit within 3 inches reanimates, you get +1 to the reanimation roll. Are these alternative? You can replace with an accelerator mandible. You can replace the nanoscale projector. You can replace the Tesla caster. Yeah, you're just gonna do that, right? Those are great. Jeez. All right, this unit seems amazing. Now I'm understanding what they do. I definitely don't think you attach, like, you could attach the Geomancer to them. I don't think you do that. I think you put the Geomancer on your back objective and you leave him there. He pals around with Imhotep the Stormlord and they have a great time. And then these guys just run up and hide in a central ruin, and they just constantly buff your fucking Wraith unit in the middle. They seem phenomenal. What's the defensive top line? They're T3, 1 wound, 4+ save. So they're like a Khazar kid. They are not difficult to kill. So they're not a unit where you want to place them out in the open to do something, right? They're not like going to go out and do an action and then you're going to like take some casualties and live. They'll probably immediately just get killed as soon as they go out in the open. And they're very expensive. So it's definitely a balancing act to get use out of these dudes. But that's cool. That's cool, man. I think that's pretty neat. All right. There's another data sheet, apparently. I don't think I have that one. Unless I'm crazy. No, I don't know what that one is. If it's in the app. And what's taking the Geomancer sitting in the home objective? Actually got odd couple skits. For sure. All right, I don't know what the other guy does though, chat. I'm no concept. Unfortunately, I don't have my amp on my computer here. Maybe I should. I could look it up on my phone, I guess. Fuck it. This is so stupid. Oh man, why is Games Workshop like this? I don't understand. Maybe I'll just hold it up to my camera. I guess I should get an emulator. What I really should do is get an emulator and run it on my computer. I used to do that back in the day for BCP, and then I didn't need to anymore, so I stopped. Warhammer 40,000, the app is classified by the Google Play Store as a lifestyle app. Just so that we know. All right. What's this thing called? I don't know. I can't find it. I don't think it's in here. I think y'all are pulling my leg. Geomancer, Desmarks, Crypto Thralls, Chronomancer. Oh, Tomb Crawler. I found it. It's locked. All right, I'm done. This is stupid. Put your shit on your fucking website, GW. What a waste of time. All right, we're moving on. With that, chat, lifestyle choices, indeed. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here, I think. I do have, so let's see. It's 12:30. I think what I will do is go live with my second show of the day. I have pushed forward my Warhamster Wednesday show slightly in order to make room for a pod finals that's happening later. As always, if you are not a follower on my Twitch account, then you can please go follow me over there, because we'll be live there later. There's my Twitch. I will. So we'll do a Warhamster Wednesday, and then we're doing a pod finals over on Twitch just after this. I've just now gotten re-accessed my Twitch account. For whatever reason, it actually locked me out of Twitch when I upgraded my computer. And I don't know why, but it seems like that's fixed. So I'll be live over on Twitch, and we'll watch a cool pod finals. The matchup's pretty cool, I believe. It is. I'm gonna double check. Deathwatch versus Tau, which is actually sick. So I'm excited to see some Deathwatch on the table. Yeah, rock that one. So thanks for coming and hanging out, everybody. I will see you in about 5 minutes over on the next stream. And cheers. Let's talk about Aeldari nerfs. Yeah, it was the Aeldari thing was the change to the core surge mechanics. So you can't stack like your multiple reactive effects. Is the new thing. That was the Aeldari thing. So you can't use like Asherman to shoot and skew and fire and fade. You can't use like Rangers to like fall back, trigger 2 reactive moves. That's all been changed, so you can't do any of that now. It also affects Space Marines. I think those are the 2 factions that get really impacted by it. But Aeldari were one of the biggest abusers of I'll do a reactive move and then I'll do a different reactive move. And that is no longer legal. So there you go. Have fun with that, chat. Cheers. All right, so I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, everybody. Well, I don't have an outro. Just realized. All right, that's fine. This is just going to awkwardly end, I guess.